Lord God, we just come to you tonight seeking your will and wisdom, Lord, for the city council and for all our community, Lord, as we head into this holiday season, Lord. Just please let us keep our thoughts and prayers and everything in perspective. I ask it in your name. Amen.
Amen. Call the meeting to order for November 18th, 2021. Miss Nancy? Oh, well, I've got call to order, then pledge.
There you go.
Then roll call.
Okay. It's been a busy day. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, now Miss Nancy.
Jim Adams.
Here.
Melissa Choate.
Here.
Chris Foster.
Here.
Rebecca Prince.
Here.
Louis Short.
Here.
Allie Sugg.
Here.
Sharon Williams.
Here.
Let the record show we have a quorum. Just a little update. We do have a sound system ordered, but it's not all here yet. But it's on the way. Hopefully by December. Okay, we need a motion to waive the reading and approve the minutes for October 21st, 2021 City Council meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Nancy?
Louis Short.
Yes.
Chris Foster.
Yes.
Jim Adams.
Yes.
Melissa Choate.
Yes.
Allie Sugg.
Yes.
Rebecca Prince.
Yes.
Sharon Williams.
Yes.
Motion carried. Need a motion to waive the reading and approval of the minutes for special council budget meeting on November 1st, 2021.
So moved. Second.
Was that Melissa?
Nancy?
Was that Melissa?
Yes.
Okay. Melissa Choate.
Yes.
Allie Sugg.
Yes.
Sharon Williams.
Yes.
Rebecca Prince.
Abstain.
Jim Adams.
Yes.
Chris Foster.
Yes.
Motion carried. Now I need a motion to waive the reading and approval of the minutes for the other special council meeting for the police grant on November 1st, 2021.
So moved. Second.
Sharon Williams.
Here. Yes. I'm reading.
Allie Sugg.
Yes,
Yes.
Louis Short.
Yes.
Rebecca Prince.
Abstain.
Chris Foster.
I'm gonna abstain.
Melissa Choate.
Yes.
Jim Adams.
Yes.
Motion carried. Now I need a motion to approve the payments journal dated October 1st through the 31st, 2021.
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. Nancy?
Rebecca Prince.
Yes.
Sharon Williams.
Yes.
Melissa Choate.
Yes.
Allie Sugg.
Yes.
Jim Adams.
Yes.
Louis Short.
Yes.
Chris Foster.
Yes.
Motion carried. Now I need a motion to approve street fund, financial statement, sanitation fund, financial statement, general fund, community center O&M, and miscellaneous funds dated October 31st, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Nancy?
Chris Foster.
Yes.
Louis Short.
Yes.
Rebecca Prince.
Yes.
Sharon Williams.
Yes.
Jim Adams.
Yes.
Melissa Choate.
Yes.
Allie Sugg.
Yes.
Motion carried. You have your supervisor reports. Do you have any questions for our supervisors? Okay, we'll move on to unfinished business. We need to move our ARPA money we were gonna move it to the First Security Fund, First Security Bank, and instead, I would like to move it to First Arkansas Bank and Trust, just to kind of have the funds spread out, because that has to be in a different account. So I'll just need a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Ms. Nancy?
Chris Foster,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Sharon Williams,
Yes.
Rebecca Prince,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Melissa Choate.
Yes.
Motion carried. Next, we have the ordinance to amend fiscal affairs for our purchases. We have a new one and an old one.
No, we just had
We
a
just
draft.
have the draft.
I think I-
Found it.
Yeah. We need to deal with these.
One of these blanks.
Yeah.
Okay, the state has upped the limit from 20,000 to 35,000. However, we will still keep it at 10,000 for any single item or project that will still have to be approved by the council. But if it's under 35,000, it won't have to go to bid. So I guess we need to read this.
Well, we need to address that section
The
4.
blanks first.
Yes, because they'll need to be filled in before we vote on it,
Okay?
which is the, old one was 5,000. And I left that blank so the council could decide.
Okay, so in section 4, to conduct business with officials.
That's where we get into, like the radio station and,
With Tubby Tees.
Tubby
or-
Tees, mowing,
That's
so,
historically been $5,000, hasn't it?
for many years.
7,500, right?
Well, it was, no, it's 5,000 right now.
Oh, that you don't have to do an ordinance for?
Well, no, it has to be under 5,000. You can't go over 5,000.
Right now, it's 7,500,
Yeah, I think we went up to 7,500,
yeah,
but we
Yeah.
could go up.
yeah.
More.
My ordinance is 7,000, which I could go to 7,500. Isn't that right, David? Yeah,
Well, that's the ordinance for you. In other words.
It's
when
a
we-
separate ordinance.
Yeah, this is a
Well-
blanket thing.
David,
We on the same page with that, David?
I believe so.
Yeah,
is it
okay.
at 5,000 though? But,
Well, I was told that it was increased to 7,500. I haven't researched the ordinance, but that's what I was told.
My code book shows 5,000.
Yeah, probably hasn't been updated.
And I think, well, that's possible too. I don't remember us passing an ordinance that changed that, but I do remember us passing ordinances on a unique basis. For instance, that may have been with you.
see, and I was just told that mine could not go over 7,500, so I didn't know what.
Well, what we had done in the past, when Mayor Clark's in office, when this would come up, Lisa would call me and say, I need an ordinance. And I would say, how much are you going to spend this year? And she'd say 7,000 or 7,500. So when I prepared that ordinance to comply with doing business with the city, I would put in that ordinance not to exceed 7,000 or 75, based on what had been, they expected to spend that year.
Okay.
That didn't necessarily apply across the board to everybody, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
So this is a blanket kind of policy, and then we do an individual ordinance if the need arises.
That's correct, that's what we've done in the past, yes.
Okay.
yeah. Well, Lisa had told me that it was state law that we couldn't go above 7,500 for me, but then David and I looked it up and there was no, it looked like there was no amount on there, right? That we could make it whatever we would want to. And I'll comment that the reason I would, like right now, because of A&P advertises, and then, a couple years ago when Chris Kramer left, then Jimmy, asked me to take over the website and the Facebook page. So, there was only $2,000 left, so I get paid $200 a month for 10 months. And then right now and next month, I just
Work for free.
work for free. And so it's become a lot more work because we're adding ordinances on there. You could ask Amy, you're sending stuff twice a week at least sometimes, and sometimes more than that, to add to the website and especially the Facebook page. It's more than $200 worth, I can tell you all that, and especially more than the nothing that I'm getting paid right now.
And let me also say that these blanks that we're talking about, if it had been 7,500 in your bill or whatever had been 7,400, then there wouldn't have been a need for an ordinance.
Yeah.
So this is what's permitted. Doesn't mean that you can't go over that, but it would require the council voting on an ordinance. So whatever amount the council chooses to put in there, if anything.
So what, it was set at 5,000?
That's what my code book says, and I don't remember us changing it to 7,500. I do remember doing individual ordinances, and I think that may be where the confusion is.
Okay.
I'm also not aware of any state limit. However, if it was 10,000 or more, our ordinance would require the council's approval
Yeah.
anyways.
It also became an issue with me because like Ozark Trail Fest would call and ask if I could come out and do a live broadcast, and they could use A&P money, and we would have to say no. You can't use A&P money because we're maxed out on what we could get paid, so.
So what
So-
is your recommendation? What do we,
Well, what I'm saying is, whatever the council chooses, it's been 5,000 for a long time.
okay,
It seems to me like you might want to up that, in my opinion, just because
inflation?
inflation and the fact that state has increased the bid requirement, you know, to 35,000. If you go to 10,000, or 9,999, that would be fine. If it went to 10,000, then section 3.04.01 is gonna kick in, and it says any expenditure exceeding 10,000 requires the council's approval anyways. So,
Does it cause us any hardship to leave it at or to put it at 7,500?
that's the council's, it's up to you folks, whatever you guys wanna do.
All it does is it increases the fact that we have to do another ordinance, right? I mean, it just increases the ordinance.
That's right. If it was $8,000 and hers was 75, there'd be no need for an ordinance. Okay. But it doesn't prohibit doing business, it just requires a separate ordinance if it exceeds that amount.
Right.
And the fact that she's the only radio station in town. Well, I know Big John's, we did one because of some parts that the city sanitation department or someone was needing, that they didn't even solicit, I don't think. I think the city came to them needing their help, so we had to go through it for that. So I think that in today's times, you know, it'd be the best thing to increase it some, but it's strictly up to the council.
But David and I looked, the last time it was increased was like 1984.
Sure.
Okay, so what do you guys want to go up to?
Well, I think,
I mean, I would think that we'd go to the 9,999 and get it, if we raise it once every 30 years, 40 years, we probably ought to just do it, and then anything over that has to come for approval anyway,
Right.
in my view.
Okay.
It's fair.
that's for all three, I assume, services, merchandise, and supplies.
Especially in today's volatile market, I mean, something that they've serviced out of steel from Big John, but just the cost of materials have doubled since the last time you sourced it, so.
Would you
I'm
say
sure, I would
9,900?
think.
With that, we could read the ordinance. if you want.
9,999.
I say, yeah, let's read it, pass it.
Okay.
Would somebody care to read the ordinance?
I can do it. What is this ordinance number?
It's 2021-13.
Ordinance 2021-13, an ordinance amending in part the Heber Springs Municipal Code, Chapter 3.04, purchases, declaring an emergency and for other purposes. Whereas the Arkansas Code annotated 1458-303, which establishes the minimum expenditure requiring competitive bidding by municipalities, was amended in part by Act 2021, number 435 of the Arkansas Legislature, which amendment was effective July 28, 2021. And whereas the City Council desires to amend Chapter 3.04 of the Heber Springs Municipal Code to be consistent with Arkansas Code annotated 1458-303, and the City Council desires to make additional changes in Chapter 3.04 relating to purchases and expenditures of the city. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Heber Springs, Arkansas as follows. Section 1, the table of contents of Chapter 3.04 of the Heber Springs Municipal Code is hereby amended to read as follows. Purchases. Section 3.0401, $35,000 or under. 3.0402, over $35,000. 3.0403, approval of payments. 3.0404, sale or exchange of supplies, materials, or equipment valued at less than $5,000. 3.0405, conduct of business with officials. 3.0406, waiver of competitive bidding. 3.0407, electronic fund purchases. Section 2, Section 3.0401 of the Heber Springs Municipal Code is hereby amended to read as follows. 3.0401, $35,000 or under, the mayor or his duly authorized representative shall have exclusive power and responsibility to make purchases of all supplies, apparatus, equipment, material, and other things requisite for public purposes for the city of Heber Springs, and to make all necessary contracts for work or labor to be done, or material or other necessary things to be finished for the benefit of the city, or in carrying out any work or undertaking of a public nature therein. Provided, however, all expenditures exceeding the sum of $10,000 for any single item or project shall have the prior approval of the city council. Specifically exempted from this limitation of the mayor's spending authority are the following items, the payment of which shall be provided for in the calendar year budget of the city: payroll and payroll taxes, all insurance benefit items for city employees, all insurance premiums, workers' compensation premiums, all utilities, waste disposal, and capital expenditures purchased through participation in the state contract procedures in which bids have previously been taken by the state. Section 3, Section 3.0402 of the Heber Springs Municipal Code is hereby amended to read as follows. 3.0402, over $35,000, except as provided under Arkansas Code annotated 1458-104, where the amount of expenditure for any purpose or contract exceeds the sum of $35,000. The mayor or the mayor's authorized representative shall invite competitive bidding on the purpose or contract by legal advertisement in any local newspaper. Bids received pursuant to the advertisement shall be opened and read on the date set for receiving the bids in the presence of the mayor or the mayor's authorized representative. The mayor or the mayor's authorized representative has exclusive power to award the bid to the lowest responsible bidder and may reject any and all bids received. The city council, by resolution, may waive the requirements of competitive bidding in exceptional situations where this procedure is deemed not feasible or practical, or is provided under Arkansas Code annotated 1458-104. Section 4, Section 3.0405 of the Heber Springs Municipal Code is hereby amended to read as follows. 3.0405, conduct of business with officials. Pursuant to Arkansas Code annotated 1442-107 as amended, members of the city council shall be permitted to conduct business with the city of Heber Springs under the following conditions. A, the purchase is under $9,999 in value, and comparable merchandise or equipment at comparable prices is not otherwise available within the city. B, cost of the service is under $9,999 in value, and comparable services or comparable values are not otherwise available within the city. C, on all purchases of supplies, equipment, or services of more than $9,999, unless the city council shall by ordinance waive Competitive bidding in situations where such procedure is deemed not feasible or practical, the mayor or his or her authorized agent, the city council or other person, department or governing body making the purchase or the contract shall first obtain sealed bids, and said council member may be awarded the contract or right to sell or furnish supplies or services only if he is the lowest bidder. Section 5, Section 3.0406 of the Heber Springs Municipal Code is hereby amended to read as follows. 3.0406, waiver of competitive bidding. Competitive bidding, whenever it may be required for the purchase of contracting for work or labor to be done for the city, may be waived upon a majority vote of the city council whenever the council deems such competitive bidding to be not feasible or impractical due to said work or labor being of a scientific, professional, or expert character, and the city council therefore determines that any one certain applicant for the position or work to be done possesses the skill, knowledge, experience, training, or education necessary to perform the work to the specifications of the council. Section 6, Section 3.0408 of the Heber Springs Municipal Code is hereby repealed. Section 7, all laws, ordinances, resolutions, or parts of the same that are inconsistent with the provisions of this ordinance are hereby repealed to the extent of such inconsistency. Section 8, it is hereby found and determined that purchases and expenditures for goods and services within and for the city of Heber Springs are essential to the day-to-day operations of the city, and being necessary for the preservation of the public health, safety, and welfare, and emergency is hereby declared to exist, and this ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after its passage and approval.
Thank you, Rebecca. We will have to read this 3 times,
Thank goodness.
You might want a
No, we
motion
will.
To suspend the rules.
but, I mean,
All the way
We can
through?
move
no, we can
Oh.
suspend the rules.
Okay.
But we have to make a motion on this one first, right?
You need a motion to suspend the rules, place
Make
it
a
on,
motion, we suspend the rules to the reading 3 times.
and place it on its second
And place
reading
it
by
on its
title only.
second reading by title only.
Second.
We need to vote.
Yep, Nancy?
Chris Foster,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Sharon Williams,
Yes.
Rebecca Prince,
Yes.
Ally
Yes.
Sugg.
Yes.
Seconded. Louis, okay.
Now I need to read it again.
Just a title.
Just the title.
An ordinance amending in part the Heber Springs Municipal Code, Chapter 3.04, purchases, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
Further suspend the rules and place the ordinance on the 3rd reading by title only.
I'll second.
Nancy?
Rebecca Prince,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Chris Foster,
Yes.
Sharon Williams,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Louis Short.
Yes.
An ordinance amending in part the Heber Springs Municipal Code, Chapter 3.04, purchases, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
Need a motion to approve?
Adopt.
Motion to approve the what?
Adopt.
I make a
Adopt.
motion to approve
Adopt.
ordinance.
Second.
Okay.
Nancy?
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Chris Foster,
Yes.
Sharon Williams,
Yes.
Rebecca Prince.
Yes.
And there is emergency clause.
Yeah, yes.
Move
Now,
we adopt the emergency clause.
thank you.
Second.
Sharon Williams,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Rebecca Prince,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Chris Foster,
Yes.
Louis Short.
Yes.
Send you a clean copy.
Motion carried. Okay, we have lots of new business tonight. We were pressed for time, and we applied for a grant for a recycle sanitation truck. It would require us to pay $7,500 and them to pay $22,500 if we get it. And if we accept it, then we will pass a resolution. Next, we had talked about the airport lease increase on the hangars. Y'all want to discuss that? Do you have a price in mind?
Charlie said that that could only happen once every so often, correct? And that wasn't like a time frame on that? Could only happen like once every 3
There's
years.
individual leases, so
Right.
people have them out there, and you probably have to look at the individual leases. They're not like a,
It's not like a blanket.
Blanket.
yeah. So it probably depends on when someone's comes up for renewal, I'm guessing.
He recommended something, what was it?
I don't remember, well, I was gonna say what it was, but I don't remember, there was like a time frame that it was allowed. It was like, you could only do it once every certain number of years. Isn't that what it was, the discussion, Charlie said it?
I think
I
so.
just remember him
I'll have to go out, get my budget notes, but we can talk about it at the budget
discussing
meeting.
the costs and.
Okay.
Yeah.
You need to look at the lease agreement, because it may be, for instance, maybe a 5-year lease, so it may be locked in for 5 years. If you're 4
Yeah.
years and 8 months out, then, you know, you can look at changing yours, but if I just started my 5-year lease, then it may not work.
It may not be applicable, but it was something to do with like, there were, not FAA, but it was something to do with, there was like a time frame. You could only go up a certain number, like every certain number of years. Am I remembering that wrong?
I don't
Let's
remember-
get
I
the
don't
real
remember
I'm
details.
not
that
familiar
part,
with that, yeah.
But yes, I would,
don't remember that part, but I do remember him saying that they were coming up in January, and if we were gonna do it, he'd like us to go ahead and do it. So
because
we
it hadn't been done in 4 or
Yes.
5 years.
Yes.
I
or
do
something like
remember him
that.
saying
And
that
because of
timeframe.
the costs, like,
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do some digging, talk
Let's
about
get
it
the
at the
real
budget
numbers and then-
meeting,
Yes.
and then put it on next month's.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, next, alcohol tax increase. Right now, we're at 4%.
We're at 4?
Are we at 4?
Oh, we're at 5.
Okay, we're at 5.
5.
Yeah, we're at 5.
We can go to 10, is that right?
10's the
Well-
max.
I pulled up when we first had to come up with our ordinance, I guess when the ABC started bringing it to the city. We had all these cities that, they brought us to kind of see how they set theirs up. And like Greenwood, which we have one up, like we made it up to where it said City of Heber Springs, and it said 10% for beer and 14% for mixed drinks. And that's what Greenwood,
That's what you, that's
Yeah.
agreement tax.
so, and I was just kind of looking at what everybody else does too.
Where's Greenwood? Is that?
Like Fort Smith.
Fort Smith, okay.
So I do know that 10% seems to be the,
Going rate.
yeah, that seems like to be the majority of what cities are doing.
Do we have some documentation of that, of what's going on in surrounding communities?
Well, that's what I was saying,
Okay.
that's what, we looked at this, and so I pulled these out from like Jonesboro and Searcy, and
What's Cersei's?
couldn't find Searcy's. I could see that. On our fee, the only thing, do we have an annual fee? Or just a, like a,
Yes,
Yes,
we do?
for sure.
Okay.
That's the treasurer. He's the
The
money.
annual fee is on the backs of the serving establishment, right?
On the club itself. This tax is just for individual drinks.
Drink.
It's only
buy
on
drink.
mixed only, not on beer or anything.
I thought it was beer
No, it
and
could be
mixed
beer.
drink.
No, that's not what we charge on.
We only charge on mixed.
We don't
We
charge
only
on beer
charge
at all?
on mixed. We just found it out.
Or wine?
Nothing.
Really?
Ridiculous. Nothing.
What?
So we only charge on mixed drinks?
Bad.
I
Mixed
didn't know
drinks.
that.
So,
Oh.
my thinking with that is it's a great way to capture additional revenue from people who come and visit our community, use all of our services and pay zero for it.
That's right.
And it may not capture all of them, but it's a good way to capture, if we're gonna be a tourist-type town and provide tourist-type services, our real population swells and doubles, but we only collect tax on half of that. And so to me, it's a great way to raise revenue without really increasing taxes on the locals.
I agree with that, but I still would like to look at what other cities are doing.
Yeah.
Can we
and
have
then-
some documentation of that and then table this to the
Absolutely.
next meeting? I'd
Yeah.
like to.
That's a great plan.
Yes, no problem.
I do know that Clinton,
an oversight.
Van Buren County, they just went to 10%.
Who
So,
did, Van Buren County?
Yeah, in Clinton.
On beer, wine, and mixed drinks,
All- yeah,
just across the
everything.
board?
Is that normal deal, is that normal to only tax
wouldn't
on
think
mixed
so.
I don't
drinks.
think so.
That
I
doesn't
I
sound
do
right.
know when we had to do the new ordinance a few years ago, we looked at it, cause that's why it's drawn up that we were gonna go to 10% on beer and 14%, and then, I don't know why we never came back to it, but we didn't, and so it just stayed at 5%. So that means it's been at 5%
For a long time.
for a long time, forever.
5%.
I think that's where it was set at, and I don't think it's ever been increased.
Yeah.
I believe.
5% on mixed drinks only, nothing on beer and wine.
I thought it was on beer too, but I guess not, but now we can do that.
Mhm.
I think it's appropriate that we do that,
Yeah.
and we're missing
Yeah.
an opportunity to,
Yeah.
We provide a lot of services to a lot of people who visit and get nothing in return, so it's a
Right.
nice way to do
Kim,
it.
but you can provide the documentation about what's going on around us and what we're currently
probably
doing,
public
and then
record,
we can,
right?
Yes,
then
ma'am.
we can talk about it again next month.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
But
No
we need to
problem.
approve it with the budget, right? Or not, I don't know.
We probably need to do another ordinance, since
Separate.
we're changing the numbers.
Right.
Yeah,
You'll have to do an ordinance.
yeah. Okay, on my notes, I've lost my way. Okay, next we need to appoint a council member for Ward 2, Position 1, to replace myself. Last time we took applications for 2 weeks, and then we set up an interview time.
Yes.
Do you all want to pick a date to do that? It's gonna be right at the crazy holidays.
I don't remember, I mean, I should remember, but I remember it was like 2 weeks of
Well-
gathering stuff, and then it was like a week of discussion. It took about a month, basically, does that sound right?
Yeah, well, I think we need to do it for the next council meeting.
That'd probably be good.
What about the first, week of December?
The first full week,
Yes.
the 6th through the 10th that week.
Before it gets too crazy.
Yes.
Let's set a meeting that week. I have planning and zoning on Tuesday night of that week, but
You wanna do Monday?
Monday's fine.
Monday would work for me. Does that
So-
work for y'all? Monday, the 6th?
Monday, what time?
Okay, so wait, are we
Early.
gonna require like a resume the Friday before or something, and then meet Monday and do interviews? Is that what we're doing?
Well, last
Is that what
time
we
they
We
just,
didn't do. any.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Yes,
we did.
Did we do?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they
You
can
should
turn,
know. You should know.
Yeah.
I remember going.
Oh, yes, yeah, yeah, okay.
they can turn in the application. We have an application for it, don't we?
No, we just sent a resume.
Resumes.
Oh, okay.
Just send the
So
resume to
they can send their resumes in for 2 weeks,
Mhm.
and then as we get them, we can forward them to you guys. And then,
Ward 2.
So,
and then set up interviews
5:30?
for December 6th.
And they have
so
to
that will
live-
be the interview date for the people that we select.
Correct.
To interview.
So, let's
Correct.
start the first interview at like 5:30.
5:30?
5:45.
And do like
Let-
30-minute ones, 30-minute, and that, I think that's what we did.
I wanna say that, but do we wanna meet and, well, I guess just, probably should get here 10 minutes before them, right? And then
Well,
be ready?
We can
Yeah,
start
we-
their interviews at 6, right? Go over, all of us look over the.
Yeah, we can look them over.
So our
and-
meeting can be at 5:30, and we'll start interviewing at 6?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't work my own calendar.
Me either. I have Amy to help me.
5:30 on Monday the 6th.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Only people that live in Ward 2.
That's right.
Correct.
Yes,
So we'll have a deadline December 3rd.
that'd probably be
by
good.
noon. Is that okay?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, and then I'll get them out to everyone?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Amy.
And we'd have it downstairs in room 1 like before?
Yes. That's good.
Okay, in July, we had a meeting for the street department to purchase some equipment with the bond funds. And we had talked about a trailer for them, and we said that it was going to come out of their funds and not the bond funds. So there was only one trailer in the entire state, and it was $14,000. And they would only hold it for 1 week. So we jumped on it. We didn't want to turn it down because who knows how long it would be before we could get another one. So,
But it came out of their funds.
yes.
Okay.
However, I
Is
need
that
your
over
approval.
10?
Big
10,000.
text trailer or whatever it is?
Yeah, it's for the mini excavator.
Right.
Yes, so it had to have certain criteria. I don't know the trailer talk.
Well, the name of it
But
is big text.
it had to have a ring and, all the stuff.
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah, whatever the stuff is.
Okay.
So I need approval of the purchase of the trailer.
You need a motion to approve the,
Yes, ma'am.
I move that we approve the purchase of the trailer for the street department.
Thank you.
Second.
Probably good to have an amount on that. What's your total amount, you know?
It was,
14 what?
it was for, I don't have the, David, do you know?
You could say not to exceed 15,000.
Not to exceed 15,000.
Okay. Chris Foster,
Yes.
Sharon Williams,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Rebecca Prince.
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Melissa Choate.
Yes.
Motion carried. Next are school resource officers, comp time to include vacation and holiday pay. Brian, can you touch base on this?
I made a mistake. When we did the ordinance, we only put in there for comp time, and we really need to include all of their paid time off to carry over, just for auditor purposes, nothing more. That way we're not going to be, so, if that's all compensatory time be included in rollover from year to year.
And we don't pay for that, right? Or
They
the
get
school
paid
is
vacation
reimbursing?
Holidays, and if they don't burn them, then technically they're supposed to lose them. But with the SROs, we've made that exemption for comp time, and now I'm wanting to include the vacation and holiday time. Because sometimes they just can't get it all in. They'll get it in by the end of the contract year, with the school, but, it's just a wording issue.
So you needed a motion to amend the previous ordinance, to
To include vacation.
and holiday
ordinance?
time.
There wasn't an ordinance.
Whatever.
It's not
It wasn't an ordinance?
It's a handbook.
Okay,
Handbook rule.
Handbook
so you need a
amendment?
motion to change the previous handbook rule to not only include comp time, but also vacation and holiday time.
For the
Are they supposed to follow the school schedule? Is that what it is too? But it's just, it needs to include that verbiage for auditing? Is that what we're, okay.
Well, like, in the past couple of weeks, I know, with ball games and everything, they've gone over, some of the officers have gone over like 46 hours.
Well, somebody needs to prepare
So,
wording for the,
Handbook?
we've got to get that corrected, so.
and then that's what,
Then we'll vote on it.
yeah.
On December 31st, it's all supposed to be closed out. And with these guys and with the school contract, the way it breaks up to
Yeah, if
July
they just say
1st,
they're voting to amend
we
the
need to
handbook
get all their
to
time
include
done
vacation and
back to
holiday, then she can go ahead
they'll
and
be
put that
burning that time, that vacation,
Okay, so
holiday,
we can
mandatory
vote on it.
time.
and vote on
May,
it. That's all you're doing,
to
voting
June
to
31st.
amend it to include vacation and holiday pay. And then he can go ahead and make that
Basically,
change.
So they're
to
following school.
align the schedule, line with the scheduling, but then also like the law, like, am I understanding correctly? Since we have to close December 31st, they still have half a year because the school calendar year is different.
Yes.
Is that right? We're just aligning calendars?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Makes
That-
sense. Okay,
that's
that
what
makes
I
sense.
understood.
Melissa. Okay. Do I have a second? I've got Rebecca for the
Second.
motion. Ally? Okay, Rebecca Prince,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Jim Adams,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Sharon Williams.
Yes.
Chris Foster.
Yes.
Motion carried. An interlocal agreement with the county for survival flight. They're having their meeting right now, and I don't know that they have passed this. So I guess we're gonna have to table it.
Quorum Courts right now, is that what that is?
Quorum Court's right now.
Can I ask a couple of questions about it though?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have
Who drew this up? Since Brent said that Drew hadn't had time to look at it, who put this together?
I think a couple people, because there's some things that need to be taken out, and I tried to talk to Drew before the meeting, but he was too busy.
Could we?
So-
I just need a little explanation of what it even means.
Okay, well, before this meeting, I met with the county judge and Brent and fire chief, and we had talked about, Survival Flight wants to put in another ambulance anyway. So we have the fire station up on top of the mountain, so we have a place to put them, to house them.
But this is Sarton Road.
We do?
Is that-
Yeah, nix that.
Okay.
I know, it's gonna get confusing. And we nixed it so that Survival Flight doesn't have to have a contract with the county, and they can piggyback off of our contract. So we were gonna sign an interlocal agreement to put that ambulance up on top of the mountain to help service that area of the county.
Okay, can I ask another question?
Yeah.
Since it said Sarton Road, now it's not, and it's gonna be in one of our departments, it did say in here also that the city would not run any of that cost. But now if it's gonna be in one of our stations, are we not gonna have some of that cost?
Well, that's another thing I have to, I
There's
need,
a lot to fix.
yes, and I need to call Jimmy to get some clarification on some things.
Jimmy Clark?
Yes.
Oh.
But this would,
Jason?
this would not
Jason.
affect,
I could attempt to fill in some of the blanks. So,
Come by the.
when Survival Flight initially put in their proposal, you know, the intent was Survival Flight was gonna support the county in backing them up, when there's additional ambulance calls. Shortly after that, Brim stopped responding to the calls, they started responding to Drasco, which, was previously serviced by Vitalink out of Batesville. Quitman shut their doors, sold their ambulances, so now it came from, we're supporting a county versus now we're servicing. Quickly after that, we noticed that our ambulances here that was supposed to protect our city were becoming diluted because they were utilized as a spare tire, so to speak. I don't know if that's the right term. And filling in the blanks, we had some volunteer ambulance services that were not consistent with 100% response. We had some that maybe will respond. He has the numbers 50 to 70% based on our dispatch center. So that warranted, hey, we're gonna need to up the ambulance needs for this area. The Survival Flight, Shane has worked very creative to add a fourth ambulance. We always have a minimum of 2 in the city limits. We never drop below that unless there's a 911 call. But if we do have more than 2 ambulances, we have let that third one respond out to the county. Correct me if I'm wrong, there's times where they would dispatch an ambulance, say, Prim 2 to 3 times, finally send Survival Flight all the way to a lift assist, you know, into that portion. So we're trying to address that primarily on the south, in the south side of the county. So this is where we've had discussions with Amy and the judge. We looked at our fire station up by Mountain Air. There was some conversation at one time where they, since we had an influx of 911 funds, that they would reallocate those 911 funds instead of our commitment for dispatch. They would reduce our dispatch commitment and to help offset the tenant improvements for the fire station. So basically those 911 funds, instead of us committing to dispatch, we would enhance a fire station with living quarters. Therefore, we would benefit our ISO situation, the city, as well as have people, our ambulance staff ready to go to service Hopewell, Quitman, back of, what was our first ferry, if they call, Pine Snag, as well as to get down to our city as well. So that was kind of our overall deployment strategy. These ambulances would respond outside in with our fire department. That's why we needed centrally located, response inside out, cutting the response time in half on those points.
so with this, the city will never still never be left without at least one unit, right?
I think it was two.
Correct, absolutely.
What,
Jason summed it up wonderfully. To give you a little bit of idea, I mean, you guys know the last 2 years, the county's been trying to figure out how to make this work. I mean, we've been to the table with them more than I can count. And the last version of kind of what myself and Survival Fight and the county came up with was, look, we're looking to put on, and I was gonna mention that a little bit later, if I got a few minutes to review some data with you guys. Yeah, we were looking at, as an annual service, to actually go above and beyond our commitment to you guys to put on a fourth in town, to not only help with some of the county calls, but also to help out with some of the hospital traffic, which has increased substantially, mostly due to the pandemic we've been in. And I hate to use that excuse for everything, but in reality, that is what it is. So we were looking to put on this fourth anyway, and in discussion, it came up about maybe stationing that truck in the county to provide those county services. At Survival Flight, told them that we were fine with that as long as the city was fine with that. We asked them to enter in some type of a interlocal agreement with the city, if the city was okay with it, to house that truck, whether it be at that Mountain Air Station or Sark Road. Personally, I think the Mountain Air Station is a much better location. And I agree with Jason, I think as far as response to the city, I think that's where it needs to be. This was never a talk of adding on an extra ambulance exclusive to the county. What we told them at the ambulance meeting was this was an additional 4th unit for Heber. However, we were fine to locate it outside as long as this council was. That's kind of how we got here, but I think some of that got misconstrued somewhere in the last few weeks, and I think their meeting today, I was not there, but hearing about it, it sounds like it was productive in getting this back on track.
and another thing in here, it says that if this is approved, we agree to let a Survival Flight ambulance into the county, and they continue to allow our prisoners to be held at the jail.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I don't know why that's
Those are
even
two
in
separate
this.
issues.
Yeah,
I
that
agree.
should be taken out
It's
of
back
this
to
altogether.
the crap a few months ago when they tried to mess us around, so.
Yeah,
I mean, I still
It's-
think 911 is a separate issue
it's-
from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From
Completely
when I
separate.
read that, I was like, what does that have to do with an
Well,
ambulance service?
And that was my first question too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
However, this hasn't been finalized.
that part
Obviously, it needs to
definitely
be
come out.
changed. And even if we do enter into this agreement, we'll still have to pass an ordinance
Saying that.
that
they're
we're going
okay.
to do it.
Right.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
should,
But-
so whoever prepared it legally or somewhat legally, and then we have to have our city attorney review it, right, and make sure that it's,
Correct.
Not gonna jeopardize the city.
So then
Right.
we'll know what the costs to the city
and I think it's,
are.
you guys are right, let's keep
They might
it
pass something
separate.
totally opposite.
I mean, if it were a business, this is this issue and this is this issue, and
Yes,
we'd settle
correct.
each one
Yes,
in a
separately.
proper
Yes.
manner.
Shane, so I know in the past year, there's been discussions about paying, for the county paying you guys to put, so is that off the table now?
The last negotiation, I guess, if you want to call it that, meeting I had with the county EMS board, like I said, we told them that, look, at this point, because I think there was some talk of whether or not they could do the subsidy, they couldn't do the subsidy, or whether it would pass, and it was just kind of back and forth, and we have continued, I mean, with you guys' permission, to continue to service them as much as we can without dropping below a critical level here. And we said, look, when we add on this fourth truck, the chances of you getting a unit
allocation, will this mean that another firefighter, paramedic that we're gonna have to pay for, or no? Okay.
Not that location. Unless we want, unless you want them, I'm
Probably not.
That's what you're gonna ask for next week.
I just want to also reiterate, I spent some time with some Conway firefighters, and the city of Conway, their whole city has 2 ambulances that cover their city, and they're augmenting several stations with a paramedic response. Cabot has, I believe, 1 24-hour ambulance, and they flex in from Little Rock, so I feel like we're very blessed to have this type of coverage. You know, our response time here has, I mean, they're on par, and they exceed some of the large metropolitan areas, so.
Did I understand you, I wanna make sure I understood earlier what you said about retrofitting the station. That would not come at a cost to the city. You said 911 funds?
So what happened, I believe, and I'm not.
I know that-
David,
right.
This is all speculation. The county seemed to think that we had a commitment of, what, $125,000 for dispatch fees, and they were going to discount that.
It was 100 though.
It was 100.
$100,000, and they were going to discount that, because remember, there was a spike, and they received, I think it was like $455,000 in 911 funds, so they were going to reduce some of that, to help offset construction costs. That's what I heard.
So what you're saying is we're actually going to pay our fair share of 911 call dispatch. But then we're going to have to put in money to.
But the main thing is that it sounds like that there's the conversations moving forward at a mutually beneficial partnership type thing, and we can work those details out and make sure that our taxpayers locally are treated fairly with a fair rate, offsetting the fact that we're gonna be helping them out with an ambulance service. So,
And I guess
but
south,
we need to draw that up as 2 separate things, right?
south part of the county,
Right.
Wilburn is the only
I think we
active
should do it anyway, put
EMS,
put it on top
is that
of the
right?
mountain, because the county
And
is
you-
not gonna.
y'all wouldn't
they're not
be
doing
trying to
anything.
push them out, they'd still be doing their own thing unless you ask for help.
What the county had come up with at that last meeting, it had been very controversial to some of the cities to the northern part of the county, and most especially those with existing EMS services. Whether that fear was that we were gonna come in and push them out, or what, I don't know. I mean, that's something else, but most of the angst, I guess, against this process has come from the northern part of the county. As far as those services, and maybe disputing, or maybe the representatives, let me put it that way, on what this should look like, whereas the southern part of the county, truly southern part of the county, there is 0 ambulance at this point. I mean, from Time Stack all the way around to and Gold Creek, going all the way up almost to Higdon. There is 0 ambulance, so those folks at the same time have been, now we need it, we need it. So in the last EMS board meeting, what was discussed was maybe taking the county, trying to take a bite at a time. And let's maybe try to get the south side taken care of and figure out what the north side looks like. And I said, I'm fine with that, as long as it keeps me off of Facebook and on the front page of the paper, I'm fine with that. I want to do whatever I can, I want to help the north side as well. But again, I'm kind of sitting in these meetings and going, how can I help, what is something we can do? And again, this North ambulance is coming on by necessity, not just because of the county, but also here in town. But it does allow us to service them a little bit better, and it's not gonna cost the city of Heber anything. I mean, I don't say anything, but it's not really gonna cost them anything, and they're gonna get additional services. I mean, at this point in time, what I want to present to you here in a little bit, within the next month, we're gonna be setting at 150% of the staffing and ambulances that we promised the city 2 years ago. I mean, we're gonna be in a truck and a half above that. We were only 2 trucks in this entire county here as far as ALS just 2 years ago. You're fixing to be a 4th and another ALS quick response unit. That's due to you guys. I mean, some of you guys made tough decisions. Not everybody was on the same page, but that's okay. We're all friends now. But this decision was made right here. It got started right here. And I'm proud of you for making it. And I hope you guys will find it. I feel like you will. find a way to allow us to carry that same service we have to the county in a way that works for you guys, because you guys are why we're here. I haven't forgotten that, and I will never forget that. But if we can come up with a way to make it work and it's beneficial for all, and I think this interlocal agreement is, I think it's the key, you know, but I think, you know, you guys can set then what your expectations are of me, of, you know, how I want to drop down to 3 trucks, or I want to drop down to 2 trucks within the city limits to go out and help. And at that point too, it allows me to answer one master or not two, because in doing a contract with the county, at some point, and this is my fear personally, is there's gonna be 2 911 calls and 1 truck available. 1 calls in the county, 1 from the city. No matter what I do, I'm gonna be in somebody's office first thing in the morning. And that's what I don't want to happen. I want you guys to lay the rules out and let me show you what I can do with those rules. That's what we need. That's what the county needs, is you guys to say, because you guys actually for 2 years, whether you do it or not, you've been providing services over 1,500 times to the people outside of the city limits. The other side of this that I always try to tell everybody about is, we all travel to Searcy. We all travel to Conway. We travel to Batesville. What happens when you get outside the Heber Fire District and nobody can come? Everybody in this town travels out. I would say everybody, but 99% of them do. And you have an issue when you get outside the Heber Fire District. And, you know, I hope that you guys in the county will work together. And I was really encouraged today from what I heard about the meeting that the new mayor had and Jason had today with the judge. I was really encouraged. I think you guys want to do the right thing. I think they do too. They just don't know how to get there. And so, hey, I'll go for it. I think you asked a simple question. I went over 10 minutes.
Thank you, Shane.
I'm pretty passionate about this.
Yeah, well, I still think, you know, if everybody agrees that we should still put another truck up on top of the mountain.
I mean,
I still would like to look at the numbers though, like,
they're adding a 4th truck.
I mean, if they're added anyway,
So we just need to look, you're gonna try to address this next month, maybe?
Yeah. I guess we need to wait and see what the court passes.
When are you planning on bringing in that 4th truck?
My biggest obstacle now, which I talked to Jason a little bit today, and we might have come up with a temporary solution, but, I mean, I've got the staffing to do it tomorrow. I just physically do not have a place to put a crew. I don't have the sleep board, and that's bigger than the slip boards. I mean, I don't have it, and that's kind of how this whole thing came up in discussion with the county, and they're, hey, we got somewhere, you know, and I get that, but I do feel like this is a better location. I think geographically it services the city and that south side of the county wonderful. But we got the staffing to do it tomorrow. My goal, I would say my goal is before December 1st. Because I believe it's needed right now.
But we really can't do anything until the county passes theirs, right?
I mean, it's our fire station.
Oh,
I think Casey's talking about, do we tell them that they can use it and bring the truck in
oh.
regardless? And so,
so there's no there's no usage fee or anything like that for the station?
If they're gonna pay for it,
They're gonna pay for it?
if they're gonna pay
They
for
said we were.
it,
But if they pay rent now, don't you guys pay rent?
Is that what you mean, pay rent?
well, if they're going to pay for the construction to
They said we
help
would.
it.
To retrofit
No.
it.
To retrofit.
who's they?
No, the city is.
Yeah, the city pays for it.
That's
So-
that's
Pay.
why I wanna look at Everett, look at it. We're gonna have,
How
There's
much,
gonna be
Our
an
taxpayers
expense
are
on the
gonna be
city
paying
to
for
retro-
this.
Right, there's
There
gonna
needs
be an
to
expense
some
on the city.
clarification, Because those were discussions, I've heard that they've happened, I haven't seen if they've.
See, we don't know if they're gonna come down off the 100,000 or not. Right now, we're just guessing.
Yeah.
But the
We're
rumor
saying
is,
That's a rumor, that's a
But a
rumor.
rumor doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The-
I agree.
Especially when we're
I need it on
spending
paper.
taxpayer
Yes.
money.
I'm not a handshake
There's
person.
no handshake.
Well, I also.
Yeah, we need it on
Well,
paper.
the right way to do it is to do it correctly, and they are
Yeah.
separate issues but tied together. I mean, if we're gonna work together and service them like we have been, they should come to the table and help us, right, with the 911 fees or whatever, so. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good start, I think
You're
we,
saving them $125
we're bankrolling.
I think
Yeah.
the answer to the question
A
is
lot
that we
more than
can't
we
do
thought we
anything
would.
before
Yeah.
December 1st. I mean, that it's.
I think you guys continue in good faith negotiations and get some of those
And get
hammered
it
out,
on
and then we can
paper,
move forward.
And then we'll make the decision. I mean, I think that's the.
I don't think the
the
council has any
responsible way to
problem at
handle
all
it.
with doing that. We just wanna see,
Who's putting the bill?
we wanna see like,
Before I put my
if we're
stamp
gonna
on
work
it, I
together,
want
let's
it-
work together, and we wanna see that.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't, that's not an
I think-
unreasonable request from the,
No.
from the taxpayers we represent. Not a problem at all. We'd love to help them.
We
We'd
would,
love to get
yes.
helped a little bit on some rates with 911. So, I think
it's-
it sounds like you guys are making wonderful progress to that
Yes.
end.
Well, I thought we were, but
Nope.
we'll see.
I know you guys
I mean,
can.
we had a really good meeting, but it's gonna depend on how the court meeting went tonight.
Well, I know, but our goal is to service our taxpayers. And it's not,
It's not
the
fair for them to foot
vocal
the bill for
people
the
who are
county.
angry about things doesn't necessarily represent the silent majority, and we've got to do what's best for the taxpaying community.
Correct.
So, I mean, I think you guys as new leaders can show everybody how negotiations work.
Okay, so we'll table it for next month. Okay. Okay, so there was an accident. One of our officers hit a deer, and we need to remove the car off of fixed assets. We are getting $3,800 from the insurance company. So I just need a motion to remove the vehicle off of fixed assets.
So moved.
Second.
Who was that?
It was
You moved
Melissa.
it? Melissa? Sharon, second?
Yeah.
We're actually down 4 cars right now, Brian? 3.
Wow.
What year am I?
How, when are those cars coming in?
Fix too, so
When are those cars coming in that you ordered? Aren't we waiting on 3 cars?
waiting on 4 cars.
And they're just being built?
Yes, they're at upfit. The 3 Durangos are at upfit now, and, the 1 car is supposed to be in transit, whatever that means. It is looking much worse for 2022, though, with, Dodge has discontinued fleet production for everything but Chargers, Durango, police units. As far as fleet vans and stuff like that, I don't think they're even gonna try to produce them in 22. So, we've been waiting 7 months, so. Tell you how things are going.
When you say it's in transit to the city or in transit to the?
Whatever that means to Dodge.
Yeah, but to the upfitter or to the city? Or just
Do
some,
what?
does it go to the upfitter first, is in transit there?
No, it's out of upfit.
Oh, it's out of upfit,
Yeah,
okay.
it's out of
Okay.
upfit, so it could be sitting on a rail car and somewhere
It's not
between here
here.
and Wisconsin, I believe.
Or on a boat.
We need to vote.
Yeah. Okay, we just need to vote on this, Miss Nancy?
Sure.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Rebecca Prince,
Yes.
Chris Foster,
Yes.
Sharon Williams,
Yes.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Jim Adams.
Yes.
I just wanted to mention that,
Motion carried.
I just wanted to mention that on the budget, that 911, we've already paid all of our 100,000 this year. It's already done.
100,000?
All paid.
Yeah,
Okay.
because remember, what was that, the jail?
Thank you. Okay, next item, Trails Grant, an 80/20 grant. This is from 2019 for First Security Bridge and striping. So we just need to prove,
The 20%?
yes, ma'am.
So why is it First Security Bridge, right?
Because it came off, because First Security donated the property.
Can they donate the 20%?
I wish.
Is that, so that can't come out of bonds money?
No, because this is from 2019.
Okay.
Trust me, I asked. Don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah. No.
So it'll
Trails,
come out of Parks and Rec? Is that right, David?
That's what I was looking for.
The bond,
See how much
no,
it was.
not the bond.
The 20%.
The grant money will come out of which fund?
Parks.
Parks and Rec.
How much is it? What's the total?
I had it somewhere.
20% for the bid, is that right?
Is it 20% of 3.5 million, or is
Right.
it 20%
Was
of
it like
100,000?
70,000,
It was on that email.
74,000?
Is the 20%?
No.
Or it's 20% of that?
That's our.
That's our 20%.
Our 20% is 75,000.
Yes.
Whoa.
That's gonna be a nice bridge. So, would the bond cover that anyway?
Can't, because it was from 2019.
Well-
No, not, like, we passed the bond, right, for the trails?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so, no matter what, the bridge has to get built, what you're saying,
Do we have to use that grant?
it'd be kind of foolish not to turn down
Yes,
80,000.
we should use the grant.
80,000 free money just has to come out of our operating budget versus the,
Okay.
No, the 75,000 is our 20%, so
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
a whole lot.
It's a lot
How
more.
much
It's
was
a
the
whole
grant?
lot
Yeah.
more.
right, right, but what I'm saying is that even if we vote no on this, because the bond passed, we have to build that anyway, right? This bridge anyway? So we can
Is
either
that
build
part
it
of
in
the
full with
agreement?
bond money or.
Well, because the resolution was passed in 2019,
Right.
so
But what
that,
he's saying is the bridge has to be built in order to complete the trail
Yes.
system that
Oh,
we-
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That we
Yes,
promised
yes.
the taxpayers, so,
right,
so you can either turn down 80% for free and just do it out of operating, or pay for the entire thing that the taxpayers will be on the hook for anyway. They're gonna pay for it regardless, right, the taxpayers? Either
yes,
through bond, or we might as well take the free money and just pay it, right?
yes.
We have the $74,000?
That was my question.
Can we take it out of 22's budget? Yes.
David said yes.
That's where it is.
Okay,
Okay.
Okay.
I move we approve to apply for the grant.
No.
No, it's already been applied for, it just needs to be paid for.
Yeah.
Okay, I move we pay for it after January 1st, our 20%.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
And well, no, it's already got a resolution.
20%. Just gotta get done, that.
Never mind,
Yeah,
I'm
we've
confusing
already-
myself.
Yeah, we've already
Okay.
done that.
Chris Foster,
Yes.
It's a
Sharon Williams.
$4,000
Yes.
bridge.
Louis Short,
Yes.
Rebecca Prince.
Yes.
Ally Sugg,
Yes.
Melissa Choate,
Yes.
Jim Adams.
Yes. So does that mean we get to tell
Motion carried.
Clint then that this portion, so we can allocate the funds of the bond to a whatever else?
That's,
This was never in the bond.
This is
I know, but
totally-
the bond had to build the bridge anyway, right? So now we don't have to build the bridge out of bond money.
I don't think so.
We just allocated a certain amount to
Trail
trail
improvement.
system.
Yeah.
Yeah, to
Well,
trail
saying-
improvement,
Kinda open.
not,
It wasn't, I don't
not
think
the
it was
bridge.
earmarked for a certain
It
project.
just has to go to
Except for
Parks and
trail
Rec
improvement.
and specifically
Clear as
trails
mud?
had a certain amount.
Mhm.
Okay. Next item, to set a committee to work on ordinance for vacant lots
Not even here today
Um,
to apply.
with Doug and Jim and Rebecca want to be on this committee. Anybody else? To
And I was
ordi-
hoping to get an applause.
Sounds
He's
good.
not even here today,
I know.
right?
And they've mowed their lawn.
They mowed it, and we're gonna look at doing it, and
Oh,
man, I
Bruce?
don't even,
Yeah.
yeah.
Don't worry, I'll let him know
I'll
this
text
morning.
him.
All
I'll
right.
text
He
him.
complimented it this morning. I saw him at Rotary. He said, I'm so glad to see that mowed. They did a great job.
Does he know that we're gonna study an ordinance for this now, or?
Maybe, I don't know. I may have mentioned it. So do I need an ordinance? Yeah, so we need to do an ordinance for a committee? No.
No, you just appoint
Set a committee to do the ordinance.
to draft an ordinance.
You need a
Friday yet.
motion to appoint
The committee
Jim and
members.
I
Yeah.
to the committee to review.
To
an
make a
ordinance.
motion to
Thank
appoint you and Jim
Great.
to a committee to review the
Actually,
ordinance.
that's within your project.
Regarding
To
vacant
work on
lots.
an ordinance for
You
vacant
don't
lots
need
in
anything.
Heber
You
Springs.
can do that.
Nailed it.
Thank you.
Killed
I
it.
just appoint them.
Thank you, guys, for that.
So we don't need a motion?
No.
Oh, we don't even need a motion.
Oh, good. We just do it.
Great. I appoint
Do it, yeah.
Rebecca and Jim as a committee to do an ordinance for vacant lots with Doug.
There you
Well,
go.
great.
Done.
Can't wait for it.
Sweet. Okay, open mic.
It'd be simple.
I know. I know.
Is this where
Send
Shane
you
gets
a
to
clean
do his thing?
ordinance.
Yeah.
And I send it in Word form if you want. In the past, they wanted said it either way.
I don't care either. Word's fine. Announcements, happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Oh, Shane wanted,
Are you gonna let
wants to-
Shane do his thing?
Shane wanted to talk.
Oh.
Okay, Shane, happy Thanksgiving.
Oh.
Do you wanna come to the mic?
This was a little bit unplanned other than the fact that I was gonna give you a report, but I was gonna actually give it to you next month, and I talked to Casey today and decided I would do it today, so I'll apologize that these are black and white, because they were much prettier to look at when they were in color. But there's some good data in here, and I wanted to give you guys, like I said, we all had a hard fought battle, and we all picked our sides, and for whatever reasons, but I'm proud of what we've done. I'm proud that of the data that's within this, and I just would like to point out, this is every call, this has data on every call we've ran since November 15th of 2019. I'd like to point out a few of the specific statistical data that's within this that I'm very proud of. And for one, 7,000, almost 7,500 residents of this county, mostly in the city, have been serviced by Survival Flight in the last 2 years. Of the 7,500 responses we've been requested, roughly 6,000 of them were in the city limits. And we have missed to date that I'm aware of 0. Now, we've had a couple of really close calls where we almost didn't have that truck. But to date, there is no one who's called 911 and did not receive services within the city. Couple of other points, because I've seen it blasted on social media and I've heard it said at different venues besides this one, but I wanted to point out the total number of aircraft used in the last 2 years requested by Survival Flight was 42. That number comes down to less than 2 times per month, which is well below the number that this community and county was at 2 years ago. I mean, as a matter of fact, the average flight volume out of this county 2 years ago was 15. The reason that number is at 2, and there's always been claims that, oh, we're gonna call a helicopter for everything, is because of the level of service we're providing. There's ventilators, those cardiac monitors, the training of our crews. The helicopter's not needed as often. Now, is it still called out in the county by others? Absolutely. But as far as our service, less than 2 times per month have we actually called for an aircraft since we've been here. I wanted to point out too, that we've used this great facility that you guys have, this community center, to do outreach education to our first responders. We have had a couple of breaks in that due to the COVID and some of the restrictions that it involved. But over the last 2 years, we've provided monthly education to not only those at Heber Fire, but also every first responder agency in the county has been invited to come to those. We've had some pretty good attendances. That's all been done for free. Instead of the 3 units, which we originally contracted with Heber Springs to do, we've actually been at 3.5 for nearly the entirety of the contract. We got here, again, 2 ambulances prior. We put in 3, and then we started scratching our heads going, how these guys been doing this with 2? And so we added on a half a person, I guess you would say. He's actually 24/7, but he's also riding rescue with Heber Fire. And again, it was part of that public-private partnership we talked about and being able to flex from fire back to EMS and back and forth. That model has worked wonderfully. I think we may be the only ones in the state running that model.
And you were recognized too by the Municipal League, that public-private partnership.
I'm very proud of that, and I hope you guys are too. On top of that, I'd like to say that in the middle of a pandemic and with a national paramedic shortage, the staffing here is 100%, and not only that, but every day we're running at least 1 double medic truck instead of an EMT and medic. So we've brought in a lot of full-time employees here to this community. I think currently their full-time over there is somewhere around 26. Of those 26, 6 are full-time firefighter paramedics. 4 of them are full-time firefighter EMTs, and I have 2 part-time firefighter EMTs. I hired 1 additional EMT firefighter today that are able to assist with Heber Fire should they get called out for any structure fires. We have been very active in the community, and we have serviced not only Heber Springs schools with different ball games and events that they've had, but also we have reached out and been doing the same for Quitman since they've lost their EMS. We've attended every one of their football games just as we have Heber. Sometimes we've called in extra trucks to do that. Couple other actual statistical things that I'd like to point out. Again, 6,000 calls roughly the last 2 years in the city, 1,500 in the county. But the one number on this next page that I would like to really point out is there's a number that says other mutual aid. That is times where our ambulances have been called outside of this city and outside of this county to go help others. And to my knowledge, prior to the last 2 years, there's not been enough services here available. And rather than sending those services, this community has been the one receiving those services. To me, that has done a 180, and I'm proud to say that we went out and helped the neighboring counties multiple times. Hospital, as you'll see, the hospital and nursing homes is roughly 35% of the call volume that we're getting, which again is part of when we were talking the fourth truck a while ago. That original number from the hospital 2 years ago that they gave, that number has went up by about 30% over what it was 2 years ago. So it's put more of a demand on us, but not only has there been more of a demand just simply in number of transfers, but what we're seeing as a company, especially in the last year, is transfers to Little Rock that are normally about a 3-hour turnaround, sometimes are being 5, 6, 7, 8 hours because there's no beds. So again, that kind of goes back to the other reason why we were already looking at a fourth truck to be able to service that hospital a little bit better. 81% of our calls are actually, 81% of the actual calls for service that we go to are actually result in transport, which is actually, it's above, but only slightly above what the national average is, so that's a good thing. That means we don't have lazy paramedics, we have people looking to help people. That's basically what that number says, so as a provider, that makes me very happy. Let's see, can't read my writing. And there's just some different data through here you're welcome to look through. I thought it interesting that the number 2 call for service was shortness of breath, and I think that kind of goes to what we've been seeing the last 2 years in the news. The main population base that we are servicing is the 50 and up. That accounts for 73% of our calls. So if you're over 50, there's a pretty good chance we may get to see you. And page, and I'll just, there's actually 3 different statistical data forms here. One is a combined, one is 2021, and one is 2020. You're welcome to look through those, finger those. If you have any questions on them, you're welcome to reach out to me at any time. I want to say, as far as kind of in summary, and we've talked about it a little bit already tonight, as far as survival flight goes, what we're looking to do for 2022 is actually expand our services here in you guys' area. On top of the 3 that were required, we're looking to be at 4.5 trucks by December. Of that 4.5 trucks, one of those is an advanced response unit that carries everything an ambulance carries besides the great big oxygen tank and the stretcher. We want to provide that service quick, just like Jason says, air in the lungs a lot of times. Sometimes that guy can get there a little bit quicker. I think that is a good solution moving forward with what we're seeing and trending, not only here in town, but also outside the city limits. That's kind of all I got. I just kind of wanted to give you guys a rundown. I mean, you guys took a chance on us 2 years ago, and I wanted you to have the data to show you that, hey, I'm doing what I promised I'd do. So,
Thank you, Shane. We
thank you guys
appreciate
for your
it.
time.
Thank you.
You guys have worked hard and it shows. Thank you. Okay, I'm excited about announcements. Can I finish those? So Thanksgiving, trash services will not run on Thanksgiving Day, on Thursday. They will run on Friday. So,
And recycling will run the week after.
okay, Monday.
No, if you're on Thursday, it'll run.
So you get double on Friday. Not your trash and your recycling on Friday?
No,
The next
you just
week.
put it out the next week.
Okay.
Recycling.
Yeah.
Shelley, remind me. Okay, after Thanksgiving, we have a lot coming up. December 4th, we've got the Jingle Bell Shop, Makers Market, Christmas Parade, and Mingle and Jingle at Back Alley Eats. So it's gonna be one fun day. Christmas all day. You have anything else? Any other events? Okay. Well, everybody have a happy Thanksgiving. I just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It was really weird not getting to vote tonight.